Hey guys, Veebat here with another Plays, and we're taking out the Tu-2, or the Tu-2 as Postal likes to call it. So the Tu-2 is going to be the Tier 7 Russian bomber aircraft. It comes right after the PE-2M82 at Tier 6, which used to be the end of the line for the Russian bombers until they introduced the rest of the line all the way up to Tier 10. And we did just do a video on the Su-10, but I did want to highlight that this aircraft is actually going to be flown just a little bit differently because unlike the Su-10, these things can do dive bombing, and all of the Russian bombers are essentially dive bombers right from the get-go. But what does dive bombing really mean? And the answer is, I don't need to drop from this site, okay? I can drop based off of that circle. Now that's not typically true for most pilots that are out there that are dropping bombs with their bombers, because if I were to do something like this, that white circle would have turned red, but in this instance it has not, which allows me to be able to continually get that circle smaller and smaller and smaller for me to be able to do a drop like that. Then I can kick my nose up, and here's an even better part with this aircraft. It actually features 420s in the nose, and I can actually engage these guys if I wanted to. Now, it's not necessarily the smartest thing in the world to do, but it does remind me a lot of my A-26B, where you can get a little bit cheeky with the thing and essentially fight other bombers or mess with heavies. We are only running a 90% crew, so we actually don't have Demo Expert fully operational on this platform, so there is a little bit of a loss of capability here, but at the same time, oh, there's the human Spitfire. It does add a layer of a little bit of complexity here because he's probably not expecting to start taking hits like that immediately. And now I can start unloading with dual 50 cals on my spine, and I've already taken out his engine, we've taken out his wing, and he is no longer going to be able to maintain effective chase of my aircraft. Now, not to say I'm not going to run into trouble with this heavy on my back, but again, high crit potential with the current configuration because I am running precision gunner on these guys, and getting that crit immediately pulled that aircraft off of me. Lost our engine. It looks like there's a Focke-Wulf in front of us. The Spitfire was not quite done with us here, but again, look at that. We just got another crit. Not sure what exactly I critted, but forward guns, we just killed a human pilot. And that's the cheeky stuff you can do in this thing. Now, we don't get to zoom in with the gun sight or anything, so there is going to be that limitation as well, but I don't think there's ever been a time where I was in a bomber and I really felt this effective, and the maneuverability is actually fairly decent, and you can really catch people out. The PE-2 can do this just as well. He only has a single cannon in the nose, but that cannon is going to be more than enough to be able to cause some pretty decent damage at Tier 6. And here we are defending the zone, and we have a Key 93 on the run, a Tier 7 heavy fighter that's trying to get away from me in my bomber aircraft. And even though we have air supremacy, I am still racking up points in this aircraft, and that's the crazy thing when it comes to the Russian dive bomber lines. Now, I'm not suggesting you go dogfight aircraft in your Russian bomber aircraft, but I do think you should consider it, especially when you're in instances like this. The Russian bombers also feature an incredibly potent climb rate, allowing them to be able to get up to some pretty decent altitudes very quickly, and even though we're up in the yellow, we're still able to effectively engage and destroy an A-26B. Much like I was talking about earlier, I felt like this was kind of like the A-26B, but again, we've got 220s sitting in that wing root right there, and we can do some pretty decent work. Now, unlike the PE-2M82, which only has a single machine gun on the dorsal spine, you can only ever get one gun to be firing at an enemy, we can get overlapping fields of fire, and we've run for precision gunner, which means we have more rounds hitting, which means the chances of getting a crit goes up. Oh, it looks like he is not happy about the engagements he's had with us before. He did ram us, but you know what? I'm okay with it. may have killed each other, but I got a few more points out of it. So I'll go ahead and throw up a GG, although I'm sure that they don't agree. I do really mean it, though. I'm glad we were able to have the fight and that they're here to enjoy it with us. We didn't get a lot of points that time. Again, I've mentioned this before. If you're doing everything right in a bomber, typically you're going to be able to control a majority of the fight. You're going to be able to get the capture points that much faster. And for those of you who think I'm flying around overpowered, the Russian bombers are not known for being overpowered, and this is a 90% crew. So we did roll for some extra stats, but it decreases the effectiveness of those skills until they're at 100%. You can even see here, we're only at 98 and 94% respectively. And the note here is the effect of my skills is reduced by 25% on both of these. But again, Precision Gunner, guys, that's the new meta for me. I have changed my mind. I have seen the error in my ways, and that tail gunner is going to be glued with Precision Gunner on almost all of my aircraft, because being able to take out the engine on that Spitfire really kept him at arm's reach, and he essentially didn't want to mess with us anymore. Now, I don't like not having the ability to zoom in with my forward guns, but I think if they enabled that, then you'd find probably too many newer Russian bomber players trying to play this like a heavy with internal bomb carriage, which is definitely not the way you should be doing this. I just wanted to showcase an alternative way of being able to utilize this platform for the times that you have taken out all the ground targets, and that they aren't to be underestimated. And if you get killed by a Tu-2, this is why. It's because it has an incredibly potent ability to be able to gun down aircraft, and then the hit points to be able to tank incoming head-on damage. Turn time isn't fantastic, but it isn't terrible. 18 seconds, and then once you get up to the Tu-10, you are going to get a little bit more when it comes to the forward armament, but really the defensive fire, you're going to be bumping up to 20mm cannons, which are going to be able to get a lot more damage and a lot more reach. We're looking at, it says 360 on the Tu-10, but it's really going to be 240 damage per second. On the Tu-2, we were looking at only 2 of these able to engage, so 144 damage per second coming out of these 250 cals, and we were able to do fairly well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats here. Again, it was a quick match. We only came in second place, but we were number 1 when it came to personal points. We really only dropped on 1 target. Again, we could have done more, and once I get Demo Expert fully up and running, we'll probably resort to doing a little bit more of a traditional role. But I thought it was an interesting battle, and I wanted to showcase for you guys. I mean, I literally just finished the battle, and we have done a non-stop uncut recording. This is my first flight of the night, so hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later on today for our live stream. So please join us. We're going to do $100 in in-game giveaways. Everybody on all servers is eligible. I have built accounts, that way I can purchase you guys these gifts. Give me 24 to 48 hours to be able to process those for anybody who ends up winning from one of the overseas servers from North America. And as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you tonight, and I'll catch you on the next one.